What is this video? That's a great question. What is life? It's a great question, and they've got similar answers. What I'm doing here, I'm just calling it freestyle flowing. Just talking about the nature of actually being alive. Every single moment of waking existence is freestyle and of unlimited potential. No one can tell you how or why we got here and are the way we are, but we particularly as humans are the perfect gift. This body is a perfect gift for this brain, for the mind, for consciousness, for what life is. I think it's fair to say that humans will not be the last super smart species to come through. Maybe we're the first, honestly, and all future societies will have the wreckage of humanity to look back on. At least that's what I hope, is that whenever we all burn out, that there's some trace of us such that we could be found again later. And I can't even imagine that. Whatever creature it is, looking through all of our old writings and trying to read it, trying to decipher it, and it's magic. But as I was saying, we've evolved very well. We have a good balance for mobility. We have good climbing ability. More importantly, we've got these things, hands. We can change things, interact with things, hold things, pull them apart, put things together. Our toes, a little less useful. I mean, they help with balance, but I wonder if toes could go through some development, because we are not a finished product. We've got eyes, so we can see things, ears to listen. We're a good balance as far as senses go. Not too specialized, but very functional. We can sweat. That's one of our greatest abilities, is sweat. It means we can outrun almost all of our predators or potential food. Now our top speed is much lower than most animals, but we can run longer than most things that would try to pursue us. And it was very helpful for us in the olden days as well. So physically, humans are beasts as well. I mean, physical strength can vary so much from creature to creature. Even just a much stronger than average human versus the strongest human versus a weak human, there's great differences in strength, and that just isn't quite as present with wild animals. Now, I say wild, but in reality, we're all wild animals, humans included, dogs. It's just it all goes back to that one thing. We as humans have the ability to think freely, to observe, and not just act. That is a particular gift. Now, other animals do have a self-awareness, and all of them to varying degrees that we couldn't necessarily know. But I mean, the humans have taken that level to new extremes. Reality for humans is different than reality for most animals, because the reality is in truth all in our mind. The difference, I guess, now we're all animals and we're all wild. I want to maintain that, but I do want to say also the difference between us and what we call animals is just that the world exists in our heads. We are not driven only to survival. Smart creatures last long in the real world because they learn how to use the environment to their advantage, how to become a master of it. For example, a squirrel who learned that hiding his nuts inside of his house is not a good idea, or that it is a good idea. Something like that, you know, little quirks that are telling of success. That game is always playing. That's the survival game. We're within it always, but in a sense we've also beaten it. Now, it's true, every moment is freestyle, every interaction is infinite potential, so anything can happen. So not to say that we couldn't be killed or or face a dangerous situation. But that being said, like, humans in America, I mean, okay, that's also true, is that life is very different for people all over the world. And really, that's what the core of this video is about. That life is all in your head. It's truly all the way that you see it. And a lot of that we can't really help, unfortunately, because we're born into culture, which is, I don't know, just the way that people do things, the way that people tell us to do things. Some people will tell you it's what's real because it's all they know. But life exists beyond culture. Culture is just installed norms, normal behavior, you know. People want to fit into culture because it's just the way people live life. And it's really not necessarily a bad thing, but unfortunately we are victim to that because you can't know that you're in a system that you live in. It's hard to know if you haven't been outside the bubble. And most humans, I won't say most humans, but a lot of America they probably don't escape that bubble ever. They're stuck in the box that was built for them their whole life, waiting for them to be born into. And I wanted just to let you guys know that you are free. And if you are able to watch this, that you can do and become anything. And I didn't intend for it to be a cheesy twist here, but just... information is information, and like I said, all that's real is just what you believe. So I recommend you choose what empowers you above all else. But also be aware, you might live in you still live among other people, so in some ways you're forced to deal with society, to interact with its influence. And so I don't know, you might find out that your friends aren't really your friends, or that you aren't really you, at least not the way you thought you were. But follow the right path and it will lead you to the truth. The truth is difficult for people, and so they sleep on it, but it'll always go there. And until you face the truth, your life will be incomplete. The unfortunate problem is that the truth is not any one thing. It can be mocked and misrepresented, and you may not even get to hear of the truth ever in your life. Because unfortunately, the people who tell us what is true are the same people who make our laws, dictate our incomes, what we have available. People control all these things. A long time ago, they figured out how to be smart, how to have subtle influence and power. And they live off of our ignorance and stupidity. It's what keeps them thriving. That's why they don't want you to know. That's why there will always be a crazy conspiracy theory about a system, a crazy tyrannical system. Now, America's government, among others, is pretty generous, I'll say that. But at the end of the day, it's hard to trust our best interests to anybody else, because we don't know really shit about what goes on. The only thing you can do is be real, be aware of the truth, become a part of it. I wonder how many have fallen that path and gone into politics, hoping to make a greater change, and then ended up falling to this way of corruption. Regardless, I'm not saying all politicians are bad people. I just mean to say, life as a whole is far beyond the things that we're told and fed growing up. And honestly, that's also where you fall into a mixed bag of religion. Now, it's hard for me to believe that people can, I don't know, so strongly believe in something else, but heck, I haven't lived all your lives, so I guess I just wouldn't know what you've seen, what you've been through. But religion is a cop-out most of the time. There's a difference between philosophy, thinking, and even like scripture itself is philosophically based, I would say. it's just like interpreting everything literally is where it's a bit tricky. And I guess I would just worry that people believe in Christianity, for example, just an example. It could be Islam or whatever. People believe in it because it's what they're told growing up. This is going back to what I'm talking about with culture. It's just laid in our culture at this point that there's a certain route of thinking, certain routes of belief that is normal to fall into. And so for me, it's hard to see religion in any circumstance as a good thing. Beautiful things and terrible things have been done in the name of the good God and gods. But all in all, it's what I call schooling. It's just taking your mind and dumping it somewhere so that it doesn't have to think about the things it doesn't know. And if you ask me, that's just limiting your potential intelligence, awareness, success. Obviously, I'm very young and ignorant about this world still, so I can't claim to know everything or that I'm more successful, but that's not really what I'm diving into here. What I'm saying is, to me, free thinking struggles when paired with religion. Religious metaphors, I think, are genius. In fact, when you interpret that as what religion is, I could almost say that I'm religious the way it is. I could read like a Bible passage and be like, preach, that's good stuff, because the words mean something, and the words are true regardless of if you believe in the stories. That to me is what truth is. That undeniable, graspable sensation of logical fluency. A feeling that can't be denied. Like I said, the truth can be mocked, but the truth, in essence, is hard as steel and cannot be broken. So in a sense, what I mean to say is that the rational mind is evil because it is not true. Or rather, it can be misguided into believing it is true, because it all falls back into, what do you believe rationality is? What do you believe makes sense? That, in essence, determines your truth. Your entire world is locked away in little boxes. Schooling, as I said. All of your life is buried under those boxes. And they pile up so much you forget what most of them are. What does it mean to be alive? Well, I could tell you. I could tell you things about your vital signs and respiratory function, but I suppose what I mean is, what does it mean to be awake? That's different. You see, every second, every conversation, every action is freestyle, and it can be anything, literally anything that you can conceive, along with the physical limitations of our world. Anything is possible, and yet, how often will people fall into the same exact routine? Imagine that. You live life one day, and then you use that day to determine what all days are like. People get stuck in boxes this way. Because a day is it's a concept, really. I mean, it has roots in the truth. And that it's based on the sun. We're more active during the day because, in all honesty, humans function better in the day. Sleep during night because we do need to sleep anyway. But anyone who's stayed up for a whole night can tell you, your perceptions of day and night are very strange once you've gone through a whole one. It's like it never stops. It never starts. It's just a continuous existence. And we measure it. And that's what time is. That's what we mean when we say time. It's like drawing a line on a piece of paper. It's a measurement, and it's also artistic. Because in truth, life is an unfolding sequence of events, not a circle. But unfortunately, due to the nature of our minds, is still a bit primal. We like our brains to be satisfied. That's just the truth of it. And that's why sometimes the best thing you can do health-wise is embrace discomfort, because people go to what's comfortable and then they sit. They say, this sure is comfortable. So many people get lost in there because they have no desire to move anymore. They say it's comfortable where it is. And it's the beginning of the end. That is where you stop becoming awake, but are still alive, if that makes sense. Dreaming, falling back on muscle memory, not really living. You're just following the patterns, trying to read the instructions of your life that you wrote into your own eyelids. But like I said, every second is freestyle. It can be anything. Because in truth, nothing is true. Isn't it ironic how true that is? This has been Samthedingus. I've been on a great roll today, just talking. So I thought I'd pick this camera up and just start talking to you guys, because I want to make every day count. And you know, this isn't like commercial friendly. My content is not commercial friendly or commercial aimed. I don't do it for the views, but I make this video now knowing that it will be seen, because I think thoughts like this all the time. And I just want to tell you some more about the truth, I guess. And if you guys actually watch this video, I'd be delighted to hear what you think about it, honestly. I do plan on doing this often, when I get on a good roll like this. I guess just explaining the nature of life from my perspective, because life for everyone else is different. And like I said, I just wanted to make sure you guys heard this. I don't know what to call this video yet. Freestyle, that's probably what I'll call it. Freestyle Philosophy, that's the one. Because honestly, information makes all the difference. And if I had told myself these things a long time ago, it would have spared me a lot of pain. But unfortunately, you can't time travel backwards. All you can do is change who you are for the future. And that starts in every present moment, because if you recall, it's freestyle. Let me drop one more on you. It's just like push-ups. Like a low rep exercise, like push-ups. Let's just say every time you're bored, you do 5 push-ups, 15 push-ups, 2 push-ups. Doesn't really matter. You are going to inevitably fall into the cycles, because that's what our brains are made to do. I, myself, have to break free from it every day. I try to be as conscious as possible. But if every time you get bored, you do a push-up, next time you're bored, you will have at least gotten stronger from doing 1 more push-up. That's what I mean. Every moment is perfect because of its infinite potential. And that seed of immortality, it rests in you. All of us. But you have to water it, or else it won't grow. Thank you for stopping in. I will definitely try to make more videos like this, because I love you guys, I love me, and I want to make a more beautiful earth. And it starts with people being free to themselves and free to the world. We can make a great change, but it starts from within. True change is within. Peace. Stay hydrated.